Hello friends and welcome to my channel. My name is Yessie and today I will be showing you how I created this delicious vegan asada. Now, one very important thing to remember when washing flour to create seitan is that you need flour that contains at least 10% protein. I use the one that says 3 grams per serving, and each serving is 1/4 cup. Another thing I discovered recently is that I no longer have to submerge the dough balls underwater. I simply cover it with a cloth so that it doesn't dry out, and then I continue the process of washing the flour. And this is what the dough should look like before the seasoning process. Please go over to my vegan drumstick video for step-by-step instructions on how to wash the flour. And here is a glimpse of all the ingredients that I used. I wanted to give you a visual of what I used exactly. I didn't have beets, fresh beets on the first batch, so I used canned ones. I later made some with fresh beets and it made a huge difference. Also, I used achiote paste on the second batch and I found the flavor and color were a little bit more intense. So you can play around with the flavors, really the seasonings to your liking. If you've seen my previous videos, you will know that I use my blender cup to make a paste with all the seasoning ingredients, which then I later combine into the dough. This is the dough after it's been seasoned. I then go in and I knead it for about 5 minutes to make sure that everything is combined well. Now this is what the dough looks like after it's been seasoned. When it's set aside to rest, I then later knot it and then immediately fry it on all sides. Here it is frying. And what I do then is I use the remaining seasonings and include those in the simmering broth. As you see here, I've added that beet juice from the canned beets, and these are the ingredients that I've used to make sure that the broth that it's going to simmer in is very flavorful so that it doesn't pull the flavors out of the seitan. When simmering the seitan, you want to make sure that the broth does not come to a full boil. A few bubbles are okay, but too much heat will result in very spongy seitan. And now that the seitan is fully cooked, I went ahead and I sliced it, ready for the barbecue. And I did use it on the same day. Some people prefer to wait and rest it overnight. I use it the same day sometimes I wait. It just depends on really how much time I have. But it did result in very nice meaty texture and the shreds were really nice. I wanted to give you an idea of what the seitan looks like after it's rested overnight. Now, I made a similar dish the following day, and this is the remaining seitan that I had. It is quite dense compared to the first day. It is still shreddy. It shreds very nicely, as you see here, very meaty. And the flavor did intensify a bit, I noticed, especially because of the barbecue. The smokiness that it gave it added flavor to the seitan. Now this is from a different batch. I just wanted to show you the difference in color when using fresh beets. The color is definitely more intense. Also, I added achiote paste, which is a pre-mixed seasoning paste, to all the ingredients. So it did intensify the flavor as well. It gave it a more of a al pastor flavor, if that's what you're looking for. Definitely use achiote paste. Now, here is how I knot the dough. So I take it in my hands and I form it into a longer piece, and then I knot it as best as I can. Now this one, I have to confess, was only resting for 30 minutes. That's why it's not as elastic as it normally is. The recommended waiting time or resting time for the seasoned dough is a minimum of 40 minutes to an hour. Now, I did struggle with knotting it a little bit, but I managed to make it work. Now I will be waiting the full hour next time, just because it is a little more difficult to knot when it's not so elastic. Now the ends I tucked into the dough itself, as you see here, and then I started the frying process. I prefer using olive oil, and you just need a little bit, especially if you're using a non-stick pan, which I used. And you are going to go ahead and fry on all sides. Now once it's all nicely fried on all sides, you're going to go ahead and add the remaining seasoning paste if you have any. If not, you can go ahead and add some of the seasonings that you use to season the seitan dough with. I simply use achiote paste and 1/4 of an onion, as well as consomme. I use the Awesome brand, but use whichever one you can find. It'll work just fine. And now this is the end result of the seitan. This is after it's been cooked completely. And this was a day after. As you see, it is definitely very dense, but the reheating usually softens it up a little bit before you eat it. And once again, I sliced it. This time around, I did some smaller pieces and some larger pieces. I also added some orange juice to the simmering broth to add a little bit more flavor. I also added some black pepper and seasonal salt to it to add a little bit more saltiness. And here are the results. The seitan was very flavorful. The achiote paste does add a little extra kick to it. So if you have achiote, I highly recommend you use that. As you see here, it looks very meaty. It is very tender, and also it shreds nicely. If you do recreate this recipe, please tag me at Yessie's Plant-Based Diet. I just want to say thank you all for watching, and I hope you've enjoyed my videos.